Oh, hello. Welcome back. All right, you all. Yep, let's let those notifications go out. I was going to try and go live a little bit later today. However, God switches things up because there were some other things that came up that we had to tend to. And so that kind of switches the to do list a little bit. Remember, we can write the stuff down. Okay, we write that stuff down, the to-do list, right? And we might have it sitting in a certain order, but that does not mean that's the exact order that God is going to guide our steps to get stuff done. Okay, yeah, that's why we got to get used to it. When God switches things up, we got to be ready. All right, so as those notifications go out, we do what we do over here. Check on everything and make sure that we are, yeah, okay. Aha, I got to remember to do that too. Okay, there we go. And we are doing our check. Yep, there we go. And also, as usual, I want to remind everybody that, CHA does accept service grants. That's what we call them. Okay. Yep. We do accept those. And I've got an important message for whoever needs this today because of the simple fact that, guess what? Yep. We got to oh man. Yes, got to do that. Got to. We have to learn new things. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the Let's Just Chat show streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Michelle Dickey and Consulting for Heightened Awareness. All right, everybody. Got to learn new things. We got to. There is no way around it. Absolutely not. Okay, because we do not know it all. There's absolutely no way we can. Okay, but whatever it is that God has called us to do, we are going to be learning new things. And yes, even here at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, we're learning new things every single day and loving every minute of it. So we have to be willing to do that as we unlearn old ways, right? We have to unlearn old belief systems. We have to get rid of all old things are passed away as we are being created a new creature. God tells us that for a reason. That all old things must pass away. And so that includes, oh my goodness, a lot of things, okay? A lot of things. The old version of who we were before God awakened us to and from all of that narcissistic abuse, that old version of us, gone. All right? So we have to unlearn all that and make room for learning new things, right? Make room for God's wisdom, right? Because in order to do that, you have to purge that subconscious, okay? And stop believing the lies of the world, what the world tried to tell us about us and who we are and what we're supposed to do with this knowledge or that knowledge, blah, blah, blah. We stop believing them because they tried to tell us that it had to go a certain way. And listen, God's true chosen ones always wonder why. All right. So for any of you who are wondering this, as to, okay, so you obtained this training or that training, right? You got that degree or that certificate or what have you, and you put in an application and you're not getting any response. Well, I'll tell you why, because a lot of these entities out here, A, they're not really hiring. B, they don't want smart people, doormats. Okay. So if you're, and I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact, True Blue Chosen Ones, that your resume is impeccable. Okay. Because chosen ones are smart. Okay. We have logic and common sense. Now, don't forget, you all, real quick, for whoever needs this, that yes, even the Jezebel, okay, they do know. That's the one thing I learned from that case study also. Okay. It's another thing, not the one, but it's another thing that I learned during that case study is that the enemy will let them access their logic and reasoning. Yep. To try and get in, try to weasel their way into our world. Okay. We have to be on the lookout for that. Because that's one of the tactics that the Jezebel will use is accessing their common sense and logic. Yeah. See, there was a time where it was seeming as though the Jezebels were the ones who could not access it, but God corrected us. Okay. Yep. I stand corrected on that because Jezebel can still access their logic and reasoning. In fact, they have to in order to, that's right, fool whoever they think they can fool. But then we learn to just let them think that they're fooling us. And we got to play the fool to let the fool think they're fooling us, right? Okay. That's the way it goes in God's reality. Okay. We learn that you're trying to confront them or trying to correct them. Oh my goodness. That's going to backfire real quick. Okay. They're going to deny it anyway. They're going to blame shift anyway. They're going to point. Yes. Okay. So we don't even bother. We don't waste our spiritual energy trying to tell them what they already know. And that B, we know what they're going to do already, because they are the most predictable reprobates on this planet. That's right. You heard me right. Okay. These narcissistic abusers, they are the most predictable reprobates. But we've got to learn new things. Okay, you all got to learn new things in God's reality. Right? And to do that, it depends on your interest, right? It depends on what God has called you to do, right? And then you got to put it into action. See, that's the thing for a lot of us. For a little while, it takes a while to get into that, okay? Get that motivation going. Learning new things is fun, all right? I need y'all to change that thinking, because learning new things is fun. Yeah, true chosen ones, we enjoy it because it's like, oh, and not only that, you know what the benefit to all of that is? A lot of times, God surprises us as we're learning new things, learning how to do a new thing, or a new thing about ourselves. And so God surprises us, whereas at one time we thought we could not do something because the world tried to tell us that we couldn't. Then we find out in God's reality when that's right, we have to take that leap of faith, get out of that comfort zone. And once we do that, and then we actually tackle that activity or whatever it was that we were told our entire lives that we would never be able to do because of insert whatever excuse here, okay? And we actually do it. We pull up a YouTube how-to video and we do it. And it's like, wow, okay. See, that is how God is the only validation that we need from on the inside. Okay? That's how God surprises us. Because you had it in you all along to do it in the first place, which is exactly why those out there in the world wanted to try and tell us that we couldn't do it. Because they knew we could. You see, with God, all things are possible, right? They know that. Because they see your potential, but don't want you to see it. That's a very important point to never forget. So for any of you who are still unpacking that bag, keep going. Keep going. You got to keep going. And while you unpack that bag, remember the steps that I've given y'all. I'm going to bring it back right here for whoever needs it, because of the simple fact that it's action step. Okay? I have suggested this, and I'm going to, it's tried and true. Like, want to know what it is that God put on the inside of you? Well, and then start learning new things to go with all of that, to unpack that bag. You have a list of known skill sets, right? Because all of your talents and gifts are derived from your skill sets. So you'll have a list of the known everything. And I mean, I'm talking everything down to, customer service related skills, okay? All the way to that, whatever it is, jobs that you've had and things like that. Write it all down. Everything that you've learned throughout your life. Then, okay, you have your talent and your gifts, okay, all derived. And, your talents are also like, okay, dancing, singing, cooking, that's a talent. It sure is. All right. And then, creating your own recipes, that's a skill and a talent, okay? So you see, you'll start to see where things align, okay, between those two, all right? There's going to be certain things that align with one another. Then you have a third column where you put new skill sets. What is it that you need to learn, to go with what you found to be in alignment? Now, mind you, not all the skill sets that you've learned are going to be used in the calling. There's a reason why God had it, for example, to help y'all put it in perspective. All right, when I went through that season of being a plumber and pipe fitter apprentice, okay, that was just in preparation for something later in life, for perhaps if I've got to fix a plumbing leak in my own home, I'll be able to do it. I've got enough knowledge. Plus, there's how-to videos on YouTube, right? And so we're already familiar with that. Should I come across it? If that wasn't my career, obviously not. Okay, but it was an experience. So that's to help y'all, all right? When you think outside that box, that when you write those skill sets down, okay? Yes, y'all, that was a long time ago, okay? But it's a part of my skill set, okay? And then also, I've shared this before. I'm going to bring it back to help y'all put it in better perspective. Because as a traveling ministry, I've got to travel, right? So I realized that's what my truck driving days were all about, in preparation for this day and time. So that because we enjoyed the traveling part. And one thing that God knew, I was like, not disappointed or anything, but would love to have had an extra time on those loads to be able to explore some of the areas that we travel, okay, to get pictures, what have you. And so now God is allowing for that to occur as a traveling ministry when we go on business trips. See, everything in preparation, you all. And no, that's not living in the past. That's just self-reflecting and going and unpacking that bag on the inside of you, all right, with your skill sets. Everything, your entire life, every single thing that you have done, okay, every single job that you have held, every single experience that you have had has a lesson, has a preparation. It has something in it that goes with your purpose, that's part of your calling. It has something. And it takes our time. We got to sit down and take our time, okay, with God, okay, and write it down. Write it down. Get it out of that. Get it out of that bag and on paper. There you go. All right. Because everything in our lives, all right, it's all about that preparation. Remember, God is the author of the 5 P's. So it's everything. God planned our entire life out. Once we let that sink in on how God had everything planned, no, he did not want or like the abuse and other things that we have gone through. Okay, he didn't like none of that, but he knew that's what was going to happen because he knows how the devil works. All right, God knows how the enemy works. God knows all of the enemy's tactics and tricks. That's why he's revealing them to us now, so that we also can learn nothing new under the sun with them and stay focused on what he called us to do. And part of that is to learn new things. So as we're unpacking that bag from through, I'm talking listen, we got to reflect all the way back to that very first job. Okay, mine happened to be a waitress position. Okay, that was one of my first jobs, was as a waitress. And so I had to think about, okay, what were the skill sets? And then I did have other waitressing jobs, throughout my life. So I had to think, just to help y'all, okay? So I had to think about what were the skill sets from that position that God needed me to learn that goes with what we're doing today and our purpose and our calling. Communication. That's the skill set. Okay, being able to articulate things with simplicity for you all. Okay, that's the skill set. That's to help y'all put it in perspective. I'm telling y'all, I'm not giving you suggestions and action steps and stuff like that I didn't already do and continue to do, because I'm still learning new things right along with you. Remember, this is a journey, you all. Yeah, this is a journey. And for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, you've seen quite a bit. You've seen how things have been moving, right? Okay, and you continue. And those who have recently joined, you're starting to see, right? Okay, so that's what it's all about. To be that beacon of hope and inspiration for you all to keep going, and that you are going to make it there. You are going to get to the other side of that rainbow. God did not awaken us to and from all of that just to have us sitting here going, now what? I know it feels that way at first, okay? But to learn new things, and that also keeps you busy, okay? Yes, learning new things that are useful for your purpose. Another example to help y'all put it in perspective, okay? With that communication skill, okay, from the waitressing, but then also in a lot of other customer service positions that I have held. Okay, so that communication, right, and then being able to deliver on what we are offering. For example, in the courses at CDHR Academy, I'm delivering, okay, on what we're offering there, the value that's in there. All right, we're not doing it with the no, not the way the narcissism side of marketing works. Y'all, for those who don't know this, the courses at CHA Academy, they are already up and running. Your material you will access that material the moment you enroll in one of the courses, or if you become a member of Spiritual Warriors for Christ at CHA Academy. Okay, everything's already there, and I upload weekly content, absolutely, inside the community forum. So I'm not out here trying to tell y'all what you want to hear, and then at the end of this free webinar, smack you with the no, we don't play that game. No, no, we do not. We're telling y'all that the courses are there. We put them together. We got, yes, God's wisdom, basic scientific facts, tried and true techniques, and those 5P coaching course, what I'm describing to you. And part of that is learning new things, right? There you go. Right? As you learn new things, you are going to be executing the 5P. Okay, so you're going to learn something new. Right? When we did that with communication, then I had to learn technology. I'm still learning. That's an ongoing thing, y'all. Seriously, learning technology. And then not only just learning the technology, but learning how to do this and do that, right? And then experimenting. Y'all cannot be afraid of experimenting, okay? When it comes down to it, right? Because whatever it is that God has called you to do in this day and time, you got to be on social media. And so to do that, I highly encourage doing the research, though. What is it that God has called you to do, okay? For example, we don't need to be on all social media platforms, okay? There's a bunch of them out there. But which ones will reach your target audience? Remember, you are your target audience for whatever it is God called you to do, for whoever needed that tip, okay? You are your audience. So you already know your targeted audience, okay? Remember, what God has called us to do is going to have a healing and helping component. Jesus is a helper. Jesus is a healer. So it's going to have those two components, some way, shape, or form, all right, to do what God has called you to do. And so you're going to have to be on social media, but for whatever it is he calls you to do. For example, when I did the research, I learned that at this particular time, Twitter's not really, Twitter's more of an instant gratification. I mean, I know Instagram is too. However, they have kind of veered away, I guess, if you will, from the instant gratification part. And people are starting to see that more long term, okay? Because they keep that, for what I understand. And y'all drop it in the comments below, even if you catch this on the replay. All right, drop it in the comments below, because I could be wrong, and I would, if so, let me know. But the impression that I got during the research about that platform was the fact that, like, whenever you post something or what have you, is pretty much gone, like, within 24 hours. Well, when we're in the ministry and the business for the long term, right? Okay, then. So we have to think about things like that. I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm like, if that over there is just for, like, a one-day thing, instant gratification, and then it's like gone, then that's not going to benefit for long-term promotion. You see, that's the thing. So we researched it out, like, with the YouTube and then Facebook and then Instagram. And it took us a while to find some information for TikTok, but we did. We finally did. We found some numbers and realized, oh, we do have some of our, narcissistic abuse survivors over there. And I was like, all right, then. So we went ahead and took care of that. We got that running. So, it's all about that research, and that's part of learning new things. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know your target audience, because you know you, and so you'll be able to figure out which platforms are going to be most beneficial to you. Right now, how did it come to be that we're on Pinterest as well? Well, that started out at the very beginning, because that's a business page that we have over there, right? Well, we're building on it too. Absolutely. Okay, so for those who are on Pinterest, listen, Consulting for Heightened Awareness. All right, again, the quickest, easiest way to follow Consulting for Heightened Awareness and myself across the different social platforms, Quora. All right, got the 2 spaces still in there, and we are, Yes, we are going to be back up and running here soon. I want to thank all of you all for your continued patience as I get settled into my place and we get things rolling. And you know how it is when you move in, and you're pretty much moving in, out with the old, in with the new. For example, like I had to get a new coffee pod. I had to get a blender. I didn't have a blender, so things like that come up. So you know what I'm talking about when you didn't have it to start with. Oh, I gotta get this. If I want to have, if I want to have my smoothie protein shake, well, guess what? Yeah, I might have to go get it. Oh well, it is what it is. So thank you all for your continued patience, and we will be getting back up. I'm looking on my wall right here to give you all an example. Okay, yeah, learning new things. I had to learn how to. Okay, let me see if I'm going to. I know that my social media strategy is always subject to change because God switches it up. But I've got every day of the week up here. I've got my guideline. So there's a tip for whoever needs one. Once you're on the social media platforms that you find are for your targeted audience, okay, that you find that, and you'll want to, okay, even though I don't do consulting and coaching sessions on Monday, but I'm still doing the 5 Ps. I'm still working on scheduled content for the following week, just so you all get a little insight, okay, on how we do things behind the scenes at CHA, because we're not sitting here doing this. No, when God's got work for us to do, y'all, that's why part of the reason why he awakened us to and from all that abuse, so that we could get into our purpose and get to work and become ambassadors for the kingdom of God. There you go. All right, so true blue chosen one, we got to stay busy. And it doesn't mean we got to rush, okay? We don't have to rush nothing. No, we just got to maintain that wanting to learn new things. Always willing. There you go, willing to learn something new, because we got to. We cannot be afraid of learning new things. That's what the narcissistic abusers are. They're afraid of learning new things. And many of us have heard them actually tell us that they know all they need to know. That's it. They're good. And some of us, when we tried to help them learn something on one of these devices, right, try to help them learn something, they would get easily frustrated, easily flustered, because it was new and unfamiliar, and they just, it was outside their comfort zone, and they get all weird about it. Okay, but they had to learn it because that was the device they had. They had to do it. They didn't like it, but oh well. And then the funny thing is that once they figured it out, oh, okay, it's not so bad. Right, okay. So we have to learn new things. And I remember coming across a saying that said that the illiterate of these times is not going to be those who can't read, but it's going to be those who are unwilling to unlearn and relearn. And then I want to add learn new things. Okay, we have to unlearn all the old ways, right? We have to unlearn all of the old belief systems once we realize that we've been lied to about a lot of things since birth. Okay, and then we can see how upside down and backwards and twisted that narcissistic matrix bubble is, and why these narcissistic abusers think the way they do. We are going through the renewing of the mind as part of learning new things as we unlearn, okay, all the old ways, and start getting in there, becoming the best version that God created us to be, the new and improved version of us. Okay, yeah, the evildoers are not going to they don't want to accept the new and improved version of us. Okay, you all. So there's for whoever needs that. Okay, if you're wondering why they continue to treat you as they do, and they continue to talk to you the way that they do, well, if they see that you're changing, they see that you've changed. They don't want to accept it. They're holding on to the old version because the old version of us was down there in that low vibration with them. Okay, that's the thing. Our old version was there, and that's what they want as part of their comfort zone. They can't stand the fact that God chose us out of the world, right? To push us into our purpose and get us out from under all of that. True chosen ones don't belong there. All right. And we realize that it's them who are the weirdos. We're supposed to be who we are in Christ, our authentic self. Okay, we're supposed to be. And it's not a surprise that there's a huge demand for authenticity, right? Think about that for a second. Why do you Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because as we grow and mature, and we continue to learn new things, exploring new things. That's right, and getting additional skill sets to go with what we already have, what God has already put in there. And as we continue to do that, we can see that they're never mind, leave them there. Right? That's what God's talking about when Jesus tells us in 8:22, we got to let the dead bury their dead. We leave them there. Leave them where they're at. They're going to take each other out. We stay all about our Heavenly Father's business. True blue chosen ones, all right? Spiritual warriors for Christ, that's right, okay? And we like to learn new things because learning new things enhances what God has already put in us. Think about that. How beautiful is it, right? That learning new things, new skill sets, and things like that, it enhances, right, what God has already put on the inside of us. So that way, it's a new and improved version of who we are in. And that you're supposed to shine, baby, shine, okay? And we learn not to, see, the enemy is always going to try to throw fiery darts, right? Wants to try and see if he can send another flying monkey narcissistic abuser across our path to see if they can dim our light. No, we don't let them. All right, that's right. We don't let them. Okay, that's bottom line. And so, listen. Here's the tip for whoever needs it. If you sense doom and gloom, we got to from such turn away. Because if you see a doom and gloom expression on someone's face, then you pretty much know that they're miserable and that they're not. Yeah, they're not. Okay, they're on that narcissistic side of things. Okay, we as true blue chosen one. All right, we're gonna iron sharpening iron. We are building our community of like minds. Okay, spiritual warriors for Christ. That is right. We are building the like-minded community of go-getters. Remember, God is a go-getter. Okay, there you go. And so when God needs to teach us new things, okay, He's been waiting to do that our entire lives. Like one His chosen children realize that we have to unlearn a lot of garbage. Oh, by the way, did y'all know the reason all that worldly garbage got in there? Oh yeah, it's because we had too open of a mind. Think about that. The mind is the kingdom of God, right? Oh yeah, that's why we're in a spiritual battle for the mind. Okay, so being that said, all right, we have to unlearn a lot of that garbage because before God awakened us, we just would hold on a second. What are we dealing with? All right, we had too open of a mind, far too open. Just like we had our hearts on our sleeve, we had our empathy on full blast, and so all the evildoers could snip that out and take advantage of us. And then because we had a difficult time telling them no, well now, as we learn new things, and part of learning new things is learning how to tell them no. And setting those boundaries. Oh, they're going to try to bust through them, you all. You get used to it, but you don't let them. You hold steadfast. That's part of holding steadfast with the Lord, is by not letting them bust through boundaries. For example, that one case study to help y'all put it in perspective, because I don't do sessions on Mondays, right? Okay, Mondays are, we're 6 days, right? And then we take a day off of doing sessions, okay? Consulting sessions, coaching sessions. We don't do them on Monday. And we had that case study, kept trying to play it off as if they forgot it was Monday. After about the third time of that, I was like, nah, I see what you're trying to do. You tried to bust through a boundary. I knew exactly what she was doing. So, see, you all, that's the thing. All right? Because I was like, she's trying to see if she could bust through that boundary. To see if because kept requesting a session on a Monday. Did that several times throughout the case study. Absolutely. I was like, And I said, all I did was just reminded her, it's Monday. And then they tried to play it off as if they forgot. Now, a couple of times they might have forgotten. Okay. But when the enemy is trying to test to see if they can bust through a boundary. And I knew when she was trying to get business and personal mix, y'all. Listen, that's what I'm saying. All right, when we turn them into case studies, we turn them into case studies. We don't say nothing. We just do it. Okay, but we knew what was up. Okay, we knew that that's what she was trying to do because of our how to deal with toxic coworker course at CHA Academy, where the first step I tell y'all, it's all part of learning new things, is how we got to learn how to separate. Right, this for whoever's still in a toxic workplace and needs it. We learn to separate our personal life from our work life. Got to. That is a boundary that is a must for dealing with these toxic narcissistic abusers in any environment. Because of the simple fact that the less ammunition we give, the less abuse that they can dish out. Bottom line. They're still going to dish it out. But as long as we're not giving them any ammunition, then we're not adding to their bucket. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so there you go. We keep our personal business personal and keep the work at work. I know it takes a while to get the hang of that, but it takes practice. Just like all things in life. Okay, but that's a new thing to learn how to do. And once you do learn how to do it, then you've got it down pat. It's by keeping work and personal separate. Because the less the toxic narcissistic abusers know about your personal life, the less they have to throw jabs at, okay? The less they have to nitpick with, the less they have to gaslight, the less they have to try and guilt trip, okay? You see where I'm going with that, right? That's why we got separated, okay? So we learn how to take on that role for dealing with these toxic narcissistic abusers by basically going, you know what? It's business, not personal. Bottom line. Because when you go to work, collect your dough, go home. We're not getting personal with them, especially if you've identified that they are a narcissistic abuser. Okay? We learn. Now, if we have, for example, we've said a couple of things like perhaps, we're on a specific diet and we let that be known before we realized we were dealing with narcissistic abusers in the workplace. We don't beat ourselves up. All right, we get around that resistance. And the thing is that I remember when I did that in the toxic workplace, I only gave them like a smidget of information. They didn't have much to go on, okay? So, yeah, they didn't have enough to go on to really do anything major, all right, as far as tampering with stuff. So, there you go, all right? It's just, you may have given them just a little bit of something, but you didn't go on and on and on and on and give them a bunch of detail and stuff like that. So then you realize, oh, they're a narcissistic abuser. Okay. All right. And so then you would tell them anything else about that. Okay. That's how we learn to separate personal and work life. Okay. It's that once we realize what we're doing, we don't give them any more personal information about anything, no matter what it is. Now, mind you, discernment, you all. Right, there's going to be those times where you are going to have to divulge certain things to your boss for scheduling purposes, obviously, but that's all they need to know, okay? So, a family thing came up and you need to take X amount of days off. Okay, that's all they need to know, right? And quite frankly, business, not personal, most of these supervisors, that's all they want to know anyway, because they got work to do too. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. Now, if they are a Jezebel or a nosy narc, that might be a different story. But for the most part, that's all they need to know. Is that, okay, this came up, you give them the reason why you're asking for specific time off, obviously, because of this, or a school event, or what have you. But that's all they need, okay? Just short to the point. Right? We don't have to go on and on and on about it. That's something that we learn when God tells us that only a fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterward. Yeah, I mentioned that verse in yesterday's live as well. Very important. It's all part of how we learning new things, how we learn to move in silence, meaning we're not broadcasting, what we're doing all across social media, right? Okay, for example, when we were working on getting into our place, we didn't go broadcasting that. Ooh, there were a few of y'all who we were communicating behind the scenes, a few of you all that I know I could trust, okay? A fellow chosen one who knew what was going on. Got a fellow minister who knew, okay? because I had some questions for him as well. And yeah, y'all are not alone. Seeking wise counsel is also part of learning new things. Okay, this is why God tells us to seek wise counsel, and so that we learn new things. And so from our fellow minister who has been doing this a lot longer than myself, so and he knows the spirit, spiritual truths and things as well. So I know I can go to him and trust in the God spirit in him to work out the salvation, iron sharpening iron. And so I have questions about this or that, and he leads me to scripture, or he shares a personal experience that is relatable, or an analogy, or something that helps me put it in better perspective. It's what I do for you all. See, we put into action what we learn. That's why we need to learn new things, so that we can put them into action, and it will help others. Yes. Okay, because all of us out here who are ministering, however it is that God called us to do, it's going to resonate with who it's meant to resonate with. And so that's why you have several of us who are in the industry of trauma healing and spiritual growth. Okay, that's right, in a ministry helping trauma survivors overcome all of that, get in their purpose, and do what God called them to do. Because true blue chosen ones are leaders. Okay, we were never, ever, ever meant to be followers. We are leaders. Right? It doesn't mean that we don't follow each other, y'all. Of course we do, because we support one another. Right now, mind you, keep that in mind that we do check profile. So when somebody follows us, we check profile before, and if we don't follow back, there's a reason why. Because we saw something that did not align with the ministry and the work. Okay. Yep. If we come across something and it has anything to do with witchcraft, we're not following back. Just mind you of that. We are adhering to God's word, and we are obeying God when God says not to consult mediums and psychics and things like that. Well, we don't do that. We're listening to God. When God says not to do that, we obey God. And so if I go over to a profile page and they follow me, and they're expecting me to follow back, but I go to the profile page and I see any signs of that kind of stuff, no, it doesn't align with this work in the ministry. So there's why. Okay, and then also you all, there's discernment too, that I have yet to get to a lot of you on Facebook. Okay, so I thank you again for your patience as well on that, as you know, because it's been quite a couple of weeks, getting settled in and learning new things as always. So I'm going to get to you all. We're going to get back into it. Okay, so thank you for your patience. All right, because I do like to support other small businesses who are supporting us, and who are on the right side of things. All right, you all, the righteous side of things. So keep that in mind. All right, that we do check things out. All right, and if I see a comment that says that they have followed, asking me to follow back, I'm going to double check that. Okay, I'm going to double check that. Duh, the God chosen ones, we're not letting things like that get by us so easily anymore. See, this is part of learning new things. We had to learn how to do this, right? We had to learn how to go, you know what? We're not second guessing ourselves or anything like that, but we are testing the spirit by the spirit. Okay, you have to learn how to do that, and that's one way. Okay, is when they say that and ask you to follow back. Whereas the old version of us, yeah, we wouldn't have even thought twice, but like, oh, okay, and hit follow, right? Not anymore. No, the new version of us is going to go, hold on a second, we're going to go check that out. Because we know what we're dealing with the narcissistic matrix, right? And all the lies and the deceit out there. And so if we click, we'll go check, and we check their profile, and they're not following anybody, or we check our own list and we don't see them on the list, then we know better. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's all about learning how to do these things so that we don't keep getting duped over and over and over again. Because God said, be not deceived, right? God says he will not have us ignorant. So that's what God's doing, is helping us learn new things, gain his wisdom, okay? With the heightened awareness. And that's part of learning new things, because as you learn new things, you're going to get a heightened sense of awareness. Not just about yourself, but about what's really going on out there. Okay, you all. So never forget that important point. Just so important. Okay, very crucial to the healing process. All right. So now I got a couple of announcements before we wrap this episode up, everybody. All right. Because I know that in previous videos on the YouTube channel and elsewhere, okay, I have talked about the Patreon channel. I tested out a free trial on all the tiers, and that got abused. So there are no more free trial for the Patreon channel. It got abused. Okay, in other words, the enemy used one of his tricks, or tried to, and it didn't faze me, you all. I saw exactly what he was doing. Okay, the enemy used one of his favorite future faking tactics to instill false hope, so to speak, and had somebody sign up for the free trial and then didn't have the funds to back it up. It didn't faze me. I did exactly what God needed me to do. I turned the free trials off because we're not playing. And to remind everybody that if God did not care about numbers, people who genuinely support us, you all, people who genuinely support us and the work don't care how many others do or don't. Okay, think about that. All right, they don't. Genuinely good people who support the work and the ministry, whatever it is that we're doing, that God called us to do, those who genuinely support it are not going to care who else is on board or not. Only a narcissistic abuser cares about the numbers like that. Only a narcissistic abuser or somebody that has the ism mindset, typically going to be a narcissistic abuser, they're the only ones who care who else is supporting CHA. All right? God like, it don't matter. The God spirit don't care. It's like, if I'm going to come support you, I'm going to support you. If I support your work, I support you. I don't care how many followers you got. I don't care how many subscribers you got. I ain't looking at that. See, God's not looking at that. Right? If I like your work, I support your work, I'm going to support it. I'm going to hit that like button. I'm going to hit the follow button. I don't have to be told. We should not, we go through that experimentation phase, but genuinely kind-hearted people, the good people, the righteous people, God's people, yeah, we don't care about popularity. Okay, it's not even about that. It's, do we support the work or not? Okay, that's bottom line. That's what we're looking at. Is, do we like the mission? We like the work? Okay, then we're on board. But otherwise we're not. It's that simple. But genuinely good people aren't going to care. So yes, I turned off something on the Patreon channel for that reason, because it doesn't matter. All right? And for those who don't know this, that channel, we go a bit deeper into the spiritual realm, make real world connections, okay, from the rabbit hole and beyond. I also have sermons over there as well. And you can sign up and further support this ministry if you wish to do so for as little as $5 a month. And we highly appreciate y'all. Thank you in advance. And the content that you get over there is a bit more detailed. And I share personal testimonies and other things, tidbit, insight, and stuff. Some of the information branches out from the YouTube channel and elsewhere, yes. But we do add additional value and things like that over there for you all on the Patreon channel. It's also titled Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. Okay, but we turned off the free trial. The second announcement I have for you all is that the podcast interviews that were on the website, because I know in previous videos that, we had to learn. That's one of the new things that we had to learn about how to become more generic, right, when we mention things in videos. However, genuinely good people understand that things change and that things do get updated. So this is the updated version. So if you do hear in a 5 o'clock YouTube drop somewhere, in the next few months, if you do hear about the podcast interviews, just know that that is outdated, okay? Because I schedule those videos out on the YouTube channel, okay? So I don't want anybody to, so I'm setting the record straight right here. Yes, July 24th, 2023. There are no more podcast interviews with you-know-who on the website or on this YouTube channel. Our CHA's Truth Seeker podcast has replaced that. Okay, that would be why. The Truth Seekers podcast, CHA's Truth Seeker podcast on the YouTube channel, okay, has replaced all of the other podcasts as we go forward. Okay, that's on Tuesdays around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the CHA's Truth Seeker podcast on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. Okay, so I wanted to make sure everybody got that announcement. Okay, so there you go. A couple of things that I wanted to let y'all know about. And then don't hesitate to check out what we got going on at CHA Academy, btbw.com. And don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. If you catch this on the replay, you can leave those in the comments, and I will get to those as soon as possible. All right, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Michelle Dickey, and Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.